A pleasant morning to one and all, and I welcome you to this exciting launch. It's called GDB Propel, Call for 50 MSME Projects. And allow me to recognize the presence of the General Manager of the Grenada Development Bank, Mr. Royston Cumberbatch. We have specially invited guests, our staff members at the Grenada Development Bank, and members of the media. Also welcome to those of you joining us via the World Wide Web. Again, we're here to launch GDB Propel, Call for 50 MSME Projects. And we know that 50 is a big deal in Grenada, and the GDB is so happy to be part of this nation's development. Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, we're a development bank, and what we do is development through financing. And so in commemoration of Grenada's 50th year of independence, we are doing this program, making a call to citizens who have business ideas or concepts, but they just may not be too sure about how to go about it. We want to support them, assist them in getting from the point of an idea or a concept to funding and getting their businesses off the ground. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite our General Manager, Mr. Cumberbatch, to set the vision for GDB Propel. Mr. Cumberbatch.
Hi, so good morning to everyone, and thanks to Ria, and thanks to media. We have Mikey Live, WeFM, MTV, GIS, and of course probably others who I can't recognize. And we have some staff members and specially invited guests. So the whole vision of the GDB Propel is really and truly to have more projects funded, right? So having joined the GDB about 4 to 5 months ago and having reviewed the bank accounts, I realized that we do have monies available for funding, right? As a matter of fact, we currently have a small business development fund where we've already funded over 800 projects. I think the idea of this particular program is not just funding, but is also developing, as we're a development bank, right? And I always say to people that funding by itself is not development. So the idea here is that we'll call for projects. What we want is that we want persons to come forward with viable and potentially viable projects. And when we say persons, we mean Grenadians living locally and Grenadians living in diaspora. Of course, these are for businesses that are based in Grenada, right? And what we'll do, we'll actually work with them to make sure that they can pitch these to experts, which will be the GIDC and the GDB. We may even have potentially, depending on the nature of the project, might even invite persons who are specially skilled or persons who are actually doing these projects at the moment. So it's a very simple process to actually sign up. And then the first thing is that this will be on all the social media channels. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on LinkedIn. It's going to be on Instagram. Thanks to Ria Murray, who's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. We're going to have a form that you can sign up. Of course, you can contact with GDB Direct, and you can ask for Ria Murray. So we're going to make a call, and the call will be for 3 weeks. So from now, over the next 3 weeks, we'll ask persons to come forward, register the interest in doing a business. Maybe you have an existing business and you want to scale up, right? Maybe you want to get some training, you can come forward. What I have realized is that a lot of small businesses, basically people want to do business. They're going to business keenly, but they don't have the training. And as we know, the statistics globally is that actually that 50% of all small businesses actually fail in the first year, right? So we want to make sure that we support, we handhold. And that's why we're going to be working with the GIDC as well to make sure that persons are actually trained. So all who signed up for these projects will be invited to learn to pitch the project. Because it's not just a matter of you sign up and then you do your proposal and then you come for funding. Oftentimes what I have actually learned is that persons can get a business plan done. And normally the business plan is done by somebody who's an expert in business plan. And that business plan is sent to the bank. And if you quiz the person who is applying for the fund on the business plan, they don't even know the business plan, right? Because somebody else have actually written it for them. This is going to be a bit different, right? We're gonna help persons to develop what is called concepts. A concepts is something like states, like for example, this is the problem, this is the opportunity, this is the market, this is the potential returns, this is my cost of the project, etc. So by you doing that and by you pitching yourself, it shows that you have some passion, you have some understanding of the actual project. So we actually help you to pitch the project, and then we actually get the passion from you. For some of you have or may have listened to what's called Shark Tank. It'll be kind of a concept like that, right? If you don't know your business and you don't know the project, then how can we even fund you, right? So persons will be trained to pitch and also trained to actually know the numbers as well. And as I said, we'll actually help them to develop concepts. Now, concepts and ideas are different, by the way. Ideas are normally in your head. I have an idea to do a business. It is much different to a concept. A concept is something that's actually thought about, is written down, and you can share it with someone. It's not a fully fleshed out proposal or fully fleshed out business plan, but it's a broad concept, right, that is written down. And then from the concept, then you can then go into like a full appraisal, which normally we'll have our loans officers, etc., or project officers work with you on the proposal. But before you get to that stage, we'll make sure that you are even trained to actually run the business. Yeah, so as I said earlier, once you do the pitch, you will be invited back, potentially at the GIDC as well, or maybe even online. We're still going to flesh this out a little bit about how we do it. So actually, do that actually pitch, right? Now, interestingly, you might hear me still talking about some of the concepts here, right? I believe in something called build the plane while you fly. I don't know if any of you actually heard that. Or build the parachute while you drop, right? So coming into the GDB, I had my own ideas about projects I could have launched for the independents. In my former job at the GIDC, I was actually going to initiate a full investment forum and trade exhibition. That didn't happen, but I came to the GDB and I thought, no, we have to do something, right? We must call for projects. So that's why I'm here and I'm making this big call for projects. Now, some of the training that people will get, it will include things like financial planning. A lot of persons get money, small business owners, they get monies, and do you know that the loan that they get, they actually put the money into the personal bank account. A lot of persons actually start making sales, and they think that sales is profits. Some persons even go so far that once they get some cash sales, they actually start spending it, only to find out at the end of the year, when you have to pay your taxes, they have no money to pay taxes. So we will train you on something called the Profit First system, where you can have multiple bank accounts, where you can even put aside a portion of your revenue into a bank account, so that when time comes for taxes, you have money to pay taxes up front, right? Matter of fact, you should be really putting aside your profit first. So every small business, every business owner must know in every dollar of revenue that they earn, how much profit there is. That's a very, very keen and important thing that everybody actually must learn. You will also get training on budgeting and forecasting. Now, many persons have a bookkeeper or even an accountant. I'm an accountant myself, but I don't do accounts for people anymore, because even as an accountant, I actually realized that accounting and financial statements are actually outdated by the time you get it. I actually specialize in something called financial intelligence, which is basically looking at what the accountants do and forecasting or predicting the future, or turning the numbers into stories, because oftentimes even business owners don't understand financial statements. But if you take the statements and you give them a story, you tell them, here, this is when you started, this is what you've done, this is how things have gone, this is where you went, you overspent. That's a much easier thing to understand. And for those of you who are listening out there in the media, etc., you might think accounting is boring, finance is boring. Well, actually, accounting is the language of business. And if you're in business and you can't speak the language, then you really don't know if you're winning or losing. Yeah? It's like watching cricket and you can't tell the score. Someone is batting, someone is bowling, but you don't have a clue who is winning or losing. If you're in business and you don't know finance, you don't know accounting, that's exactly what it's going to be like. Marketing. No, marketing is not an expense. Marketing is actually an investment. When you market your business with the intention to get an ROI, right? And marketing is very important because however, marketing is not sales. Marketing brings customers to the door. Sales convert customers, potential customers to customers, right? So persons will learn marketing, they will learn a bit of sales, even like operations management, etc. More importantly, persons will be preparing their concepts for funding. So at the end of it, when you have all this training, your concept will be prepared for funding. And all the persons who participate in this program, even if you don't get funding, there is still something for you. You actually get a certificate of participation. As I said earlier, funding is under the GDB Small Business Development Fund, where we have quite a few millions available for funding. Of course, if your project is big, you want, I don't know, $100, $200, $300, $400,000 loan, we can potentially fund you through the GDB, right, where we also have funds available. So I want to make it very clear, as I said earlier, that this is not just for Grenadians who are here, but this is also for Grenadians living abroad. I know from sitting at the GIDC that there are hundreds and hundreds of Grenadians who want to return to Grenada. And oftentimes they worry, what will I do when I come back? What will I do? I'm looking to do a business. Maybe they have an idea, they have a concept. Well, if you come to the GDB, we will help you develop the concept into a full-blown project. Again, sign up. That's the first step. The first step is to sign up and to check us out on Facebook and check us out on Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. Right? So as a result of the program, the whole end game here is that we will see a propel, a boost. We'll see at least 50 new bit of a stimulation of projects. Now we're going to focus on something called priority sector projects. So these are projects that the government has earmarked as priority. And normally, if you listen to the media or if you've been reading newspapers, etc., you realize that agro-processing, agribusiness, these are really, really key projects for Grenada as we import millions and millions of dollars in imports, right? And food is getting more and more expensive. So we want to see more agribusiness, more agro-processing, even Agri Tech. Agri Tech, right? A working group that's looking at incentives and things like hydroponics, aquaponics, etc. Those persons will be able to import potentially and get maybe tax, etc. Things like with tourism projects, of course, we still have lots and lots of tourism, a lot of boats coming to our shows, and sometimes when these people come, they want things to do. So if you have a tourism project, that's really good. ICT, creatives, of course, there's a whole fund for the creatives, but under this program, persons who have ideas, who have concepts, who even want to access the grants or the loans can still come forward. Energy projects, health and wellness. I think we'll all agree that health and wellness in Grenada could do with a boost. So if you have a small project to do with, I don't know, massaging, maybe herbal remedies, whatever it is, right? And the list goes on. Call centers. For example, do you know that although most of the call centers in Grenada are persons coming in and set them up, but locals can actually set up a call center here or an outsourcing center where you can do bookkeeping, or you can do calls, or you can do whatever it is for persons in foreign. You can process transactions here for persons who are in foreign. And by coming to the GDB, we will share some information with you on that. Just to be clear, this is for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matnik. As a matter of fact, I myself is planning to go potentially with Ria and a few other staff to Carriacou within the next few months, where we will do a very, very similar launch to this. Okay? So I want to thank everyone for being here. Before I guess we pull the curtains down, I'll see if there's any questions from anyone in the media or even any staff who might even have a question. But I want to thank the media for coming out, and I know you're very, very busy at this time with all that's happening out there in the with the independence, etc. Thank you for coming in. I want to thank Ria for putting this together. I know that she's been very, very busy, and since joining the GDB, she has been doing a stellar job. So thank you out there as well in the listening world who has tuned in, and those of you who will listen it not live, but if you have any questions, you can message our Facebook page directly. Thank you, thank you. So open for questions. Ray, you want to answer that for us? I think it starts today. So it starts today. If I look at my phone or whatever, I think today might be the 5th. Is that correct? It starts 5th of February 2024 and will end 3 weeks from then. All right. So we really want to make a big call for projects. Any more questions out there? Very, very good question. Is it a loan or grant, or what's the minimum or the maximum? So it's a loan. It's a soft loan, right? So the loans are 1% or 2%, right? I mean, we have something called an MSME Fund, and we also have an SBDF fund. So it'll be 1% or 2% maximum. Now, in terms of the MSME Fund, which I was checking with my team on Friday, that fund can fund up to 300,000. The Small Business Development Fund can fund up to 40,000. And as you will know, under the creatives, it can fund up to 50,000. And under the creatives, we also have grants available up to 25,000, which we launched a few months ago. So if you're creative, you can get a grant. And there's also a voucher program as well under the creatives. But for this particular program, we're looking at soft loans. When we say soft loans, what does that mean? It means that you shouldn't not normally be asked to put up, your grandmother's land and all that kind of stuff. But of course, we need security. So security could be in the form of, if you are doing a particular business and you're buying equipment, we will take a bill of sale over the equipment. Does it make sense? Right? We also have to make sure that when persons come and apply for business loans, that the funds that they get, those funds are being used for the business purposes, if that makes sense. So most of the time, we will not be giving you the funds directly to your account. We try to find out exactly you are doing this business, you want all these equipments, etc. Potentially, we can even pay directly to the supplier for you. Does that make sense? Other questions from you? That's it? But thanks to everyone for being here, and thanks for listening out there. And I think I'll hand over to Ria to see if she has any closing words.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cumberbatch, for that very comprehensive look at our program. So just remember, the call begins today. You have 3 weeks to sign up. Visit our Facebook page, Instagram page, or LinkedIn. In just a few minutes, you'll see the online link that you can visit to sign up. Our handles at Grenada Development Bank for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And so you've heard the steps. Step 1, you'd be, there's the call. Then you'd be invited to a session in terms of learning to pitch to investors. Then we will invite you back to a session where you get to pitch to an expert panel that will include the GDB and the GIDC. So we would like to thank the GIDC for partnering with us in this program to be part of the panel and also to conduct some of the training. and then we take it from there in terms of the different topics that we would be supporting and training the participants in. Again, so coming out of this, we hope to see 50 sustainable, viable businesses in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Those on the World Wide Web, thank you, and we look forward to the interest coming in. Have a great day.